Hi kindergarten, welcome back to music class. This week we are continuing our lesson on musical instruments that you would find in an orchestra. You will want to watch last week's video if you did not get a chance to join us last week. Last week we learned what an orchestra is. It's a group of musicians playing different instruments together. We learned what the string family is. That is a family of instruments that all have strings on them, like you see on the screen. And last week, we were able to explore different musicians playing the violin and the viola. This week, we are going to finish learning about the string family by hearing and watching the double bass, the cello, and the harp being played differently by different musicians. Let's start with our cello. Our cello, as you can see, is a little bit bigger than the viola and the violin. The cello is just big enough that instead of holding it like a violin or viola, you have to stand it up on its little peg right here. The cello can be played with the bow. It's mainly played with the bow, just like the violin or the viola. Some people will pluck it, but not very often, pluck it with their fingers. The cello is just a little bit deeper of a sound, a little bit lower of a sound than the violin and the viola. And the cello also has 4 strings. So for our first song, we are played by with the cello. We're going to see 7 people playing 7 different cellos for one song. You're going to notice they're playing it in all different ways, with the bow and with tapping. Let's get us to the point where we can see all 7 playing. 7 different cellos to play one song. You can hear it's a little bit lower than the violin and the viola. And do you see how he's standing it up? Because it's too heavy to hold. It's mainly using the bow, but some of them are using their fingers to pluck. Very cool. So we can play some really nice music with the cello, part of our string family. Now we're going to hear a song that you might recognize if you have ever heard the Star Wars song. This is a fun video where we see 2 musicians playing 2 cellos with their bows, but you'll notice their bows turn into something very special while they're playing. Now with this video, you're going to see that the cellos look a little different. That's because they're newer cellos. They're not made with wood. So they might look a little different, but they are cellos. Let's see. A long, long time ago in a galaxy far, far away. They are both holding cellos. They look a little different, but they are cellos. Ooh, now his bow is a lightsaber. So as you can see, you can have lots of fun playing different songs with the cello. Let's move on to the double bass. The double bass is even bigger than the violin, the viola, and the cello. And as you might guess, the double bass is extra heavy. So you do have to stand it up on a peg, and it does sound lower. It is the lowest sounding of the string family. It also has 4 strings, and you can play it with a bow. This first song that we're going to listen to has 6 players, 6 people playing the double bass, and you'll notice they're not just playing with the bow, they're also tapping the double bass to make different sounds for their song. Let's skip forward to where you can see. So they were tapping that whole time to make those noises, and now they're using their double bass with their bows. So you can get really creative with the double bass too. This next video with the double bass is going to also be 6 players, but they are just playing with their bows. Let's pay attention to that. Let's skip us ahead a bit. So they're all using their bows, so their song sounds a little different. All right, so that is the double bass. Did you notice it sounded even lower than the other string instruments? And it was very big. Our last string instrument is the harp. The harp does not have 4 strings like the other instrument. The harp can have anywhere from 40 strings to 47 strings. In an orchestra, the harp will probably have about 47 strings to play with. The harp is very big and heavy, so it stands up and you can lean it against yourself. And you do not play the harp with a bow. You play the harp with your fingers. Some harps also have little pedals that you would use your feet to press the pedals. This first video of the harp is a song that's from the movie The Lord of the Rings. It's a very popular movie, so this song is a very popular song, and you're going to see 2 girls playing the harp, so we can listen to that. Now their harps are a little bit smaller, so they're able to have them strapped to them. They're not standing. But you can see they're playing with their fingers, and they're playing all of those strings to make that song. That's how the harp sounds. Now this last video of our last instrument from the string family is a song from Harry Potter, which some of you might know. You might recognize. This is the Harry Potter song played with the harp, which is pretty special. This time their harps are bigger, so the harps are standing up because they're too heavy to hold. And there we are. Now we have learned about the 5 instruments in the string family. We heard all of the different sounds that they can make, the different ways that they can be played, and if any of those are interesting to you, maybe you can find your own videos of your own instrument being played, and you can hear all the different ways that those instruments can be played. Next week, we're going to move on to the wood family. I will see you then. Bye, friends.